German Development Service, DED, cooperates with other German donor and development agencies such as GTZ, KfW and INWENT to form the thrust of German assistance to Zambia under the guidance of the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany. The German ambassador to Zambia, Dr. Irene Hendrickson, elaborates.
Now, in all these years, development cooperation has, of course, been the center of attention of our bilateral work. And all in all, so far, Germany has spent something in the way of 750 million euro on development projects in Zambia. The last agreement we had covered the years 2006 and 2007, and it went to 39.5 million, out of which 29.5 are financial cooperation and 10 million technical cooperation. Now, this is the overall framework. We are looking forward to government negotiations this year to cover the next 2 years. And within our system, we have got quite a few institutions. We've got the GTZ, which is doing the technical cooperation. We've got the KfW, which is doing the financial side. And here we are getting to the center of attention as far as this film is concerned, we have the German Development Service. They are spread all over the country. They have their people in all kinds of different projects. Therefore, for the embassy and for its staff members, they are also always a wealth of information, and they help us in our daily works. We help them. So it's a very important factor of support also for embassy work.
The German Development Service celebrates 40 years in Zambia in April 2008. Dr. Gudrun Riga Ndakorerwa, Regional Director of DED Zambia and Malawi, had this to say.
German Development Service, DED, has been in Zambia since 1968. In fact, when the first volunteers arrived, they were quite young, just above 20, but these days the experts that we send are on average around 40 years of age. We started working in the fields of low-cost housing and agriculture, environmental protection. We also worked in school leavers programs, vocational training, in health. But these days we are within German bilateral cooperation, and we work in the fields of water and sanitation, rural water supply, but also urban and peri-urban water supply. We work in decentralization, that is, for example, supporting the local government association of Zambia, but we also have experts advising on financial planning and advising on geographical information systems, GIS. And we work with civil society, the Civil Society for Poverty Reduction Network in the provinces. And last but not least, we are mainstreaming HIV and AIDS in all our activities.
The 3 priority areas of assistance are 1. Water and sanitation, 2. Decentralization and private sector development, and 3. Governance, state and civil society.
Jan Köttner. I work here in Livingston as an advisor for civil society organizations. My task is to help organizations in the southern province to do better projects, to improve their organization, to do organizational development with them. The organization that we see here having a meeting under the tree is ZAVCODA. It's short for Zambia Volunteer Community Development Association, and they have 2 particular focus areas, which is home-based care for people living with HIV/AIDS and community education, community schools, both for young people, children and also adults. What we see here is the home-based care, so they work together with the hospital or the clinic in this particular compound, Libuyu. So they provide home-based care to older people, to sick people, and they use at the same time this home-based care to introduce income-generating activities. So these activities are directed towards more food security, because many of these patients, HIV/AIDS patients, have the problem that they get the medical treatment but they do not have enough food, which is very important, of course. So they train them in gardening, in actually creating vegetables that are particularly nutritious, and piggery, various kinds of poultry, which is then also be sold and can be used for other purposes of this group of people.
Billy Situmbeko, area coordinator of Misundu and Libuyu zones, talks about one of the projects.
Mbuli busenobo kulanga abantu bakisidwe then tuma project tubedde mbuli mpongo kuminzoku zetulera zauti natwalela lia tupa abantu batwejena mai tupa abantu abalwazi bagwasi mbuli bakiswi mbuli nchitonjo tutyani nje tubeka kulanga abalwazi. Then from there kuno kuli buyu tulijisa angurube zero zotu twajana mali tupaba abantu babedanga balakiswa uti baligwasize muri zindi za kwinga kuchibadela ali mazimu zimina kuli cyabedanga uli pengere mbonyo.
Julia Ngandu, Zafkoda treasurer for Libuyu zone, elaborates.
Puti nkumba izi kuno ziri mu yadi yanga banapasa responsibility kuline. So izi nkumba tizifidinga timagula vigaga pakuchiteni tifaka mona tusoti kosoti mkati tudiwemu kuti zisankale na mawemzi, then timatenga na makabeji matepo va makabeji kutandavale, then tibwa tifaka mona soti, then tizipasa mwameti zifidinira, then tikaona ati ingati chakudya chativuta makabeji sometimes sama pezeka kutandavale ndalama yo gula magaga kulibe timatengapo oleka mozi tagulisa tapezako yo gulira futi gaga ole ngati winangu mu community yatu ali na problemu tingatengeko imozi tagulisa tasolve problem ya meniti nayo.
DED also has a group of experts that deal with HIV and AIDS issues. One aspect of HIV and AIDS that DED is concerned about is the educating of Zambian groups on the various areas of the pandemic. Yvonne Sato has a session with a group at Gosna Mission, Ibex Hill, Lusaka.
Okay, we are going to speak now on this station, yeah, of how HIV is transmitted and not transmitted, yeah? What we want to do is like, we look first at all the pictures, okay, yeah? And then we are going to put them on the boards according to our 3 ways of how HIV is transmitted.
Another area of assistance in Northwestern Province is the Civil Society for Poverty Reduction. Kiapalushi Kapatamoyo, Provincial Coordinator, had this to say.
Civil Society for Poverty Reduction is a non-governmental organization which has affiliate members of about 140 member organizations who at national level, and in Northwestern Province particularly, we have about 28 non-governmental organizations that are affiliated to us.
Well, as the capacity building advisor, I work together with CSPR, with the provincial program management team on a daily basis, meaning I have my office next door to the provincial coordinator, and so there is every day an open door and a possibility to link up in need of improving work plans, improving reporting, or also to come up to prepare for the meetings of the executive committee or of the different task force groups.
As you know, Solwezi has been the core center of everything. Everyone wants to come to Solwezi as a result of the opening of the mines. I think as Civil Society for Poverty Reduction, we have taken that as a challenge because a lot of aspects apart from development have come to Northwestern Province. We have the fear of a rise in the HIV/AIDS levels that are keeping our eyes on the look, because as much as we are talking of HIV/AIDS, it cannot be separated from the subject of poverty. So we're looking at a lot of issues. Different settlements are developing within the district, which is also raising a number of concerns when we talk of water and sanitation. When we talk of civil society for poverty reduction, it would not be a complete story without talking about the German aid that we have had as an organization. Apart from the fact that we have GTZ coming in, we also have DED that are partners and that have made it possible for us to implement the programs.
Another area of assistance is the Provincial Centre for Geographic Information Systems in Livingstone. Mr. Joseph Minango, Regional Land Surveyor for Southern Province, confirms.
We have a new activity that has been started at Livingstone office. This is the Provincial Centre for Geographic Information System, in a brief called the PCGIS. The reason for starting the PCGIS was to be able to make our own maps and also meet specific needs of our clients in terms of map demands, and also in terms of needs related to mapping activities within the tourist area. With this PCGIS, we have received support from DED, and we've also received support from GTZ. We started the PCGIS in 2006, and the start was basically to set up the PCGIS in terms of institutional, in terms of administrative, and then also lay down the activities that the PCGIS was to undertake. But then in 2007, the PCGIS became quite active, started producing products that were able to meet the needs of the clients.
This is PCGIS, the Provincial Centre for Geographic Information Systems. It's a small but powerful service center aimed at everything around geographic information and map making. So in this computer lab we have the devices to digitize analog data, edit and manipulate these data sets, and produce and output new customized maps which are interesting for our clients. Our clients are mainly offices of the public sector, but as well private organizations and NGOs, non-governmental organizations. Here on the walls you see some of our products, some maps created by the center, and one of them is a tourist map for Livingstone and Victoria Falls, as currently there is no tourist map available for this area. We have taken part with this in a map making competition in Southern Africa and won the first prize in the category of presentation. So it shows the townships of Livingstone and Victoria Falls, the mighty Zambezi with the Victoria Falls, and in different colors points of interest like accommodation, restaurants, activities, and we hope to raise some funding for the center by selling this map.
DED is also associated with another project in the Southern Province under Decentralization and Private Sector Development. Catherine Chandenda, Project Officer for Elephant Pepper Development Trust, talks about this project.
This project, we work with the small-scale farmers with elephant problem in the southern part of Zambia, that is the Zambezi Valley. And at the moment, we also work in conjunction with the DED, which is the German Development Services. And these people, they help us in terms of capacity building for the staff we have at Elephant Pepper Development Trust. And also we sometimes have a representative from DED who work with us in the office in administration services. They help us. And at the moment we have a project from the EU which we are running in the southern part of Zambia. This project is going to include about 770 farmers. It just started, this is now 1 year old, and we have more 2 years to go. And this project at the moment, we are targeting the poor of the poorer, though it's not the good way to use, but we are targeting the most affected, like the people who are vulnerable, who cannot afford to buy anything, and they have got serious elephant problems.
James Mwanza, Field Officer of the Elephant Pepper Project, concludes.
What we do basically under human-elephant conflict, we have a range of mitigation measures that we do. For example, I would mention them. Number one, we have what we call a buffer zone. A buffer zone is a 10-meter wide range from the edge of the field going in the bush. Why we do that? It helps to give a sight, one, to a farmer who is in the field, the alert, waiting for elephants. Secondly, is a mitigation number one. As the elephant moves away from the forest, going to the field, the moment it reaches a place where it's quite clear, it will stop. By making it stop, we call it a defense number one. Number two, we have what we call a buffer crop. A buffer crop, or sometimes we call them palatable plants. These are the chilies that you can plant, the chilies or tobacco. What happens is, there's no elephant that will move all the way from the bush, going straight into the field. What happens is, as they move close to the field, and take for instance that they pass through what we call the buffer zone, the cleared land, you'll find the green plants, and it wouldn't move straight into the field, it will touch the chili crop. The moment it goes in the stomach, there's a reaction which happens approximately within 60 seconds, it will vomit them and it will run away. That's a defense number two. Number three, what we do is what we call the chili string. We have the small paws, 2 meters high, sisal string and mutton cloth. Then you get the grounded chilies, you pound them, you mix them in grease or used oil. We usually promote used oil because it's locally available and quite cheap for farmers. Then you mix them and smear them to the crop. That is a defense number three. Number four, what we do is we get the elephant dung, cow dung, goat dung, you mix them with chili, you make a briquette. What happens when it gets dry, it acts like a mosquito coil. So you put them around the field, 30 meters interval, and you light them around 19 hours, it takes 8 to 9 hours. So they'll be producing smoke. What happens is, which means the whole field will be contaminated with a chili smoke. Therefore, the elephant might get a sound 300 meters away from the field. Eventually, they might deviate from the field. Okay. Apart from that, there is what we call a watchtower. We encourage farmers to build a watchtower, a small house, a small hut in the field. Okay, so that they are able to do the active methods. The active methods are what we call them the actual burning of chilies, which is very effective, number one. Now that it depends where wind goes. So for a farmer to get away, to scare the elephants away, he needs to combine both passive and active.
In Kabompo, Northwestern Province, DED is involved with WASH, water sanitation and hygiene education, in activities of a technical nature to enable the communities operate and maintain the hand pumps and boreholes properly and consequently strengthen the sustainability of the program. In Solwezi, DED is collaborating with Northwestern Water Supply and Sewerage Company, as Theo Godes explains.
We are active in two aspects of water supply, in urban water and peri-urban water. I'm giving advice to the company in the field of customer service and financial and commercial advice. So the areas where we're covering is mostly the urban water supply, like domestic connections to customers, and therefore we will have to give advice to the departments of the billing and the Department of Customer Services. I'm happy to say that our efforts are fruitful, and we already managed it together with our partner to have 100% of metering for water consumption and almost 24 hours water supply in domestic areas. Well, in order to supply also to the poor in the peri-urban area, we managed to establish a water kiosk system in which we as experts and advisors are highly involved in.
Sabita Muwembe, Customer Services Officer, Northwestern Water Supply and Sewerage Company, explains further on the water kiosks.
One of my mandates, and indeed, is to supervise and coordinate activities of 26 water kiosks, just like this one that you're seeing. This is number 26. So we have something like 1 to 26. Northwestern Water's mandate is indeed to supply safe and adequate water to the people of Northwestern Province. And indeed, with this initiative of having water kiosks to the peri-urban areas, Northwestern Water is also proud to say that we are not only supplying this water to the peri-urban areas in Northwestern Province, but we are also empowering these water kiosk vendors to actually have a certain minimum income to feed themselves and their families.
The success of this program is confirmed by Florence Kaumba.
Tubona kusantira bawutansuwedi pakwituletera kioski ya mema iyo twabugire bawutansuwedi twayandirenga sana kuyanga kumukora kwa lepa na kuleta mema bino paki no kimye tujibulongo mambo mema etwajifepi kajaji na mtengo wa chipa ketu yanda kumema ne mwana.
Core principles of all these activities have been partner orientation and response to people's needs. Over the years, areas of assistance and modes of service delivery have changed, but DED development workers, through their expertise and distinguished perspective, still add value to present and future development interventions in Zambia and many other countries.